Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the JP podcast. You already know who I am. If you don't, check out my other videos. And I just basically talk about whatever's on my mind. I'm gonna rant. I'm gonna, tell stories that nobody maybe wants to hear about. But let's get right into it. So today's episode is gonna be about my sourdough journey and the kitchen chaos that it brings along with it. How I got into sourdough? Don't tell me. I don't even know. But we'll go through that in this whole video. Before we do that, again, I'm going to say please follow the channel, like, subscribe, comment if you can. It'll pop down somewhere down here. But yeah, just hop on, just enjoy the ride, Let's all help each other out. Let's all grow together. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, again, this episode is me talking about my sourdough journey and the kitchen chaos it brings with it. How I got into it. So, basically, I figured out I like cooking, I like trying new things. So, why not sourdough? Well, let me tell you. Sourdough starter or even sourdough itself, the journey, it's a different world. You see, what I've done is I've spilled flour. I've made a big mess in the kitchen. I've spilled flour, I've spilled starter, I've got starter everywhere, discard or whatever you want to call it. Uh, I have ruined some loaves. Like I put the something about like the hydration that your loaf needs. It can't be too much or it turns like soupy. I did that, and I still somehow learned to talk to my starter like if I had my own kid. Right now, I have no kids, and later in life, I do want to have some kids. Obviously, it's what I feel like I'm trying to get to that point of having my own kids. But till then, this starter, her name is Edith. Just feed her every day, Make sure she's happy, like making sure she's bubbly and all that. So it's just a long journey. Like she is my baby. I'm like, I gotta take care of her or she'll die. I don't want that to happen. And then, you know, when I'm making my loaves, when I'm doing my like prep time, bake time, whatever, in between times, I go on TikTok. I go on social medias like Instagram, TikTok, whatever, if I can even say those. But yeah, I go on them, and apparently it could just be my algorithm. But I search up like sourdough, like how to make a sourdough loaf. 90% of them are all moms, or they are females who are baking sourdough. They all have the perfect crust, the gorgeous, like phenomenal bubbles. I'm like, how do I get that? They're all Instagram worthy. Their loaves turn out phenomenal. And here I am. I'm just a guy with my own starter, Edith, in a messy kitchen, learning, failing, and I'm actually kind of liking it because it's something challenging, it's something new. Like I have to keep up with it. It's because it's literally alive that I'm trying to keep alive. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, my counter is crusty, sticky. My hands are covered in dough. They're disgusting just because of like the stickiness of the dough when you first start to do everything with it, and can't touch anything. Or like my phone, can't touch it because I don't get residue everywhere. But somehow this chaos, it does feel satisfying. Like don't get me wrong, it feels satisfying because I think this is where I realize I'm not just baking bread at this point. I'm embracing that chaos of trying something new that I've never done before. I got thrown in the fire because shout out to my second family. They gave me a piece of their starter that was from a other friend's starter, and like it just third generation or fourth, I would say, just kept going down the line. And then I was like, hey, I'm scared. I have no idea what I'm doing, but let's give it a try. And then I've also had people say, you cook, you bake, you actually work in the kitchen. For me, I'm not like I never thought that was like a shocking thing, but suppose if a lot of men don't know how to cook or bake, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, is it that rare for a dude to cook and bake? Because for my friends, most of us cook, most of us can bake, and we can survive. So I'm just like, it's like when I heard that from another friend that saying that, wow, it's really rare. It's really rare to find a guy who can cook and who can bake. I'm like, I thought that was normal. But yeah, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be me diving into that journey of how my sourdough journey started and how it's made my kitchen a living nightmare sometimes. But here we go. So I never. So let's just start off. I never created my starter from scratch. It was from a friend of a friend of a friend that I was like, I'm intrigued, but also scared because I don't want to mess things up. I don't want to. Will I have time to do this? Will I have like priorities to make this commitment to feed Edith every day? So for me, day one was I'm not feeding. My starter was already pretty active. I just had to make sure to keep it maintained and maintenance for my starter. All it is literally just flour and water. But at the same time, it's not flour and water itself. It is you have to measure. I eyeball now because I've gotten better at the consistency I'm trying to look for. But every time I get flour everywhere. My shirt is caked up with flour. My countertops are caked up with flour. I'm like, what is happening? How am I messing up this badly? But that's all part of the process of you gotta. The first feed is literally how much flour do I put in. And what I'm doing, I'm staring at Edith, this sticky mess, thinking as like a person like for me, I don't have kids, so I'm like when I have my first whenever I have my first kid, or if I ever have my first kid or adopt or whatever, I was in crisis mode of like, do I feed it again? When do I feed it? Do I ignore her? Do I ignore it? Should I hug it and hope it grows? Should I talk sweetly to it? Or I don't know. I was just like in that mindset of this is my child, this is my starter. What do I do? What do I do for this? And when I first started feeding Edith, my starter, the kitchen was terrible. It was really just flour everywhere, water everywhere, just making sure I did not kill my starter at all. And the worst part was after I saw Edith, you know, quote unquote eat or start eating her flour and water, and I saw the bubbles, immediately was like, this is sort of sick. And I'm like, I'm kind of obsessed because I'm seeing that how this chain reaction of alive, some sort of alive like yeast, whatever crap in the sourdough, it's eating the flour and you're seeing it bubble up and rise. Like I would always check every hour, every minute, and it was just like sometimes it would be like, oh my gosh, like Edith is thriving. She's eating phenomenal. She's hungry. She's starving, and then bam, she's freaking double her size. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But the lesson learned is that for this and how it can be used in I feel like for our daily life is that life is always going to be messy, and sometimes you gotta embrace that sticky chaos in the situation of yes, in the beginning it's gonna be challenging. Yes, it's gonna be chaotic of like what's happening. Do I even do this? Do I even do that? Should I even do this? Should I ignore this? All those like do it, what ifs, such scenarios in your head. but just keep with it, and you'll see whatever you do start to thrive. But yeah, so starting something new, like it's, I think we all are there. That all we are all there at one point is it's just anxious. Like you feel anxious for starting a new hobby, just because for me, I like to be good at whatever I do. If I'm not good at it, I get very like in my head of no, I can't play this or I can't do this because it's something that I'm not capable, something that I'm not confident in the get go. But here's the truth about starting anything new. It is terrifying. Don't get me wrong, it's terrifying. You start to overthink every step. You start to have more negative thoughts in your head. You start to, Google, ChatGPT, look on TikTok, Instagram, whatever social media platforms you like to follow, and you start to read three different guidelines of how to start this, how to make this, how to do this. Start to watch the tutorials. You panic sometimes, and you panic if something goes wrong, like really wrong. And with sourdough, my gosh, that is the perfect teacher for patience. Because for me, Edith, she does not care about your schedule. Everything is on her time. When she's ready to, prove. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, but you will when I talk about it more in this episode. But with sourdough starter, with sourdough itself, it's on their schedule. Like you can try to manipulate some things like heat, for example, to make your starter rise earlier. And then for like proofing, same thing. Put on a heating pad just so you can ferment it quicker. But everything else is just you got to trust the process of your starter is really doing its work and it's doing its job to help you with what it needs to be doing. Because I messed up for my first loaf. It was good. It was like that the freaking what do we like first time like luck of the draw. Like I'm like, oh, this is easy. Like I made my first loaf, came out good. It was a little more on. It was airy still, but it was small compared to seeing the ones I see on social media platforms. Of I'm doing the 100 grams of starter, 500 grams of bread flour, 350 of water, warm water now, and then 10 grams of salt. That's for one loaf. And my loaf, it was bulk fermenting, but then it wasn't like poofing up like theirs were. So I'm like, I'm not doing something right. But I rolled with the punches, and I definitely was not fully proofed up because the inside was a little more holy, and I saw like that's a sign of underproofing it. But it still turned out pretty good. The scoring, I did phenomenally at. I think I did for my first time making a sourdough loaf. Because sidetrack, I made this loaf. Told my clients at my gym I go to, or told people, hey, check this loaf I made. 50-50. 50 of them were like, that's impressive. That's your first loaf. The other 50 were like, no, you bought that. Like, I don't believe you. I'm like, I wouldn't believe myself too if I showed myself this picture of the loaf I made. So I just laughed it off. I was like, yeah, I made it. I'm like, good, right? For a first time, they're like, yeah, like that's like bakery star levels, like sourdough, if that was your first time. But yeah, back on track is that you can't rush it, you can't control it. And I, who am sort of, or who was more of a Mr. Control Everything, like I want to control everything, make sure everything's on my schedule, because I literally put on my ChatGPT schedule of starting my sourdough to the point where I'm baking my sourdough. And I had to just wait. I had to wait for bubbles. I had to wait for proofing. I had to wait for the oven. And honestly, that's a good metaphor for life. See, you can plan, you can try to control every detail. But sometimes you just gotta let it happen and hope for the best. For me, I'm off topic, but for me as a religious person, like I can't be in control of everything. I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go to God. God will provide. God will be there for me because I can't like it's like something I learned from it was from this last week's let me find it. From this last week's I went to church and the message was about we were in Genesis, about Abraham, but like God told Sarah and Abraham that they would have a firstborn son. And at this point in the Bible, they're 90 years old plus, like they're old. I'm like, and Sarah's thinking, like, no, there's no way at my age I could be pregnant with my first son. But to get back on track of I can't control everything, Abraham tried to control and to have his own son and not in, God's timing. So I know this is off topic because I don't want to bring like religious too much into it, but I also do because this is my channel and I want to show people more of that like true authentic side of myself that I am a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in some kind of higher being. Some people not agree with me, but as long as you believe in something higher than yourself, you're good. But yes, back on track is that you can plan, you can try to control every detail, but yeah, sometimes you just gotta let it happen and just hope for the best. Dude, fudge. But yeah, story time. Another one is that my first loaf experience. My first loaf experience. So let's fast forward to the first loaf. Like I said previously, is that, you know, did everything right. Made sure my starter was that, like, I did it at nighttime, stressing, and I woke up at literally 4 making sourdough. I woke up at 5 a.m. because I had a tea time with a buddy. So I was like, if I wake up 5 a.m., because I timed everything. I used ChatGPT to time everything correctly, or sort of try to like get everything correct. Because I knew my house, knew the temperature of the dough, and knew the temperature of my starter. So like Edith was thriving. So fast forward, I start to knead my dough. Put everything together. It's a shaggy dough, and then you let it sit, let it soak in a ball of flour, stretch and fold, stretch and fold, stretch and fold, stretch and fold. Let it bulk ferment for a little bit, and then did that. Put in the cold proof because I saw that's a better thing to do, just so the dough is like more like a easier to score with. Did that, and then came point where put it in the oven, Dutch oven, best thing to use. I love it, and it looked good. It looked amazing. Then I made my second loaf. Looked good. Looked amazing. Third loaf. Looked good. Looked amazing. And it was my fifth loaf. My fifth loaf, I wanted to give up. I was like, what did I do wrong? Because at that point, it was really just looking like I was scared. I was like, what is happening? First through 4 loaves were amazing. Fifth loaf, it's a sticky mess. Like it's runny. I'm trying to knead it and it just plopping down. So I didn't even like I had to throw it away. Even though that's not what you should do. Don't do that. You can make like sourdough pancakes with that, but I was just in the headset of I'm so pissed that my first 4 loaves were great. Then this fifth loaf is just crap. I'm like, I'm throwing this away. Even though that's such a waste of product. Like now I look back and I'm like, don't do that. Make something out of it. There are people out there that are, I got to be grateful what I have. And just to throw away food like that, I wasn't raised that way. I was raised, whatever's on my plate, you got to finish it. And that's how I want to live, and that's how I want to teach my kids. Just be grateful for what you have, because it can be taken away. But yeah, that loaf. So the fifth loaf. This is all on the fifth loaf. First loaf, second loaf, third, fourth. Fast forward, they're all great. Fifth loaf though, I poked it. It jiggled a little bit like Jello, and I thought, yeah, this is too watery. This is too runny, and I just threw it away. It just comes down to that point. Yeah, like I just threw it away. I was like, I can't do this. Like, try to make a cost out of it, and it just didn't. The bubbles didn't happen. So I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I did throw it away. I wasted product, but I'm learning from that. Don't waste food. Don't waste food. Just make something out of it. But another loaf. So let's talk about the my fat back forward a little bit of my second loaf. Second loaf was more of that like flat. It was flat, but it was still airy. It was still good. It just was a little bit underproofed because I was still working out the kinks of being impatient, not letting it rise fully. But didn't post it. Didn't need to post it, but I also didn't want to post because it slightly embarrassing. It was flat. It was flatter than my other breads. It didn't poof up as I wanted to. But opened it up. There were a lot of holes, so it definitely was underproofed. But the taste though was pretty good. It was really good actually. And I had a moment where I realized that that's the magic of doing something yourself. You don't need to be perfect. Perfect. Besides, you do have to be perfect with the measurements. I found that out. You need effort. You need that curiosity, and maybe just a little chaos just to make peaceful. Like you need chaos in your life just to have it, just to be on your toes, and it's okay. Also, a funny story is that funny side story is I'm just mixing everything, and then all of a sudden, I have an apron. I have an apron for when I cook, when I bake. I didn't wear it, and I was wearing black shorts and a black shirt, and it literally turned white because I just was mixing the flour, and then bam, poof. Did I learn my lesson? No. Next time I made my bread, I have my apron. Did I put it on? No. But it's just funny because I'm like Dory. Like when I'm in the kitchen, I always tell myself before I prep, put my apron on, and then get to work. Time goes by, forget the apron, and I'm all covered in flour. But yeah, it's part of it. It's how I do it. So the cooking chaos and other kitchen fails that I've had is that sourdough isn't my only kitchen chaos. It's my new obsession. It's my newest one. My current most current chaos. But I tried a few other recipes too. Like the time I tried to make homemade pasta, and the noodles turned out great. But when it came to boiling the pasta, I added a little too much sodium, more like a lot. Or the time what I try to do, or the time I tried to make cornbread. This is embarrassing because I know how to make cornbread. I know how to make like box cornbread. I know how to make. But my dumb butt forgot to put the timer on after I put it. So I put the timer on for like the normal time, and then it was still a little gooey in the middle. And I literally was at the oven, press timer, and I think it was like extra 5 minutes. Well, clearly I didn't do that because my cornbread turned burnt, and I was like, ooh, that's so embarrassing because the house poofed up with smoke. Just because he's once if you ever put something in the oven, like if it's sugar or whatever, and it starts to spill down or like drip, and you open your oven and it's like that, like that mist, that smoke or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. That's what happened. The cornbread was all ruined, but part of the lesson learned is that remember to time your stuff, or don't go away from it for too long. Keep checking on it every like 2 minutes. Or I try to make cookies. Sourdough discard cookies. My first ones, oh my gosh, bad. They turned to muffin tops. Let's just say that. They were not really cookie consistency, and they turned into muffin tops. They were still good, but I was like excited. One of my clients tell me, "Come, like, be honest with me. Be brutally honest. Are these cookies, or are they?" She was brutally honest. She said a B minus for a muffin top and an A for a cookie for no and a B minus for a cookie and an A for a muffin top. And I'm like, damn. She was not. She actually took what I said seriously. Like, be honest. I'm like, thank you. Cause I don't want. I like if you. I want to get better at whatever I do. Like if you're gonna be like, oh, no, it's great. I'm like, is it really though? Because if I put too much salt in it, would you still say it's great? Like those, those like videos of like the husband and wives. They put like the salt and the marinara, and they say, try this out, and they're like, it's good. But you're like, are you just you're just saying that? But this client of mine, oh, did it again. A minus. We've improved. We came from a B to an A minus. I'm taking that all day. But here's the thing. So with every failure I've had in the kitchen, baking, cooking, whatever it is, each fail taught me something. It taught me about timing. It taught me about having patience, about how little control you actually have in whatever you're doing. And the best part is I still have fun with it. Yes, I do get mad still. Yes, I get stubborn of I wanted to proof up faster, all like the yada yada yada. I'm trying to, get to the end result but not ride it long. I'm trying to go off like, like the fast track instead of taking, the detour of seeing the scenery, basically. And you know what I did? I still ate something at the end of the day. And somehow it feels good because it is what it is. As long as you have fun with it in whatever you do, and if that fun goes away, then that's you have to readjust of, do I really like doing this? Do I really like, But for me, cooking, baking, whatever it is, next thing I'm going to do is try to grill. If I can grill, I'll trifecta. All right, this might get a little salty or might get a little hate, but this is just my observation that I've seen on my social medias. It's the TikTok moms and the trends. And speaking of trends, TikTok. Like I said, I scroll through, and 90% of my sourdough videos are moms who are baking sourdough like they're little professional, like they're professionals. Like the lighting's all good, like they're saying everything correctly. I'm like, holy crap! Like, what are you like? What is happening? The perfect crust, the beautiful scoring. It's golden brown, and I'm over here, a guy, again covered in flour, sticking my hands into sticky dough, stretch and fold. Don't know the other ones, but learning patience the hard way. But it's so crazy to see all majority are moms who are making sourdough. And it's like, wow, okay. But hey, here's the thing. I enjoy it. I'm having fun with it because it's something new that I'm trying to get better at. I like the chaos. I like making it. The sticky counters the weird satisfaction of, kneading, stretch, fold, coil, fold, coil, fold. That's what I was thinking of. And, it's all me. Like, I'm literally getting whatever the gluten structure, the strength in it, or whatever the dough, whatever it is. I'm still new to this, so if you know more sourdough knowledge, that's on you. But I'm doing this because I want to have fun with it and make, decent loaves. But somehow, I like it. And even caught myself thinking, I have caught myself thinking that maybe I'm better at this than I give myself credit for. Maybe I can dominate the flour battlefield too. Those two last things. Maybe I'm better at this than I give myself credit for. And maybe I can dominate the flour battlefield too. You see, a lot of us are hard on ourselves. And I get it. I'm hard on myself with when it comes to fitness, when it comes to cooking, just because of just how I'm wired of I want everything to be good, great, and better. And usually, like, I'm just a very hard critic on myself, and I feel like a lot of people are like that too. Like, they're just too hard on themselves, and just show yourself grace. Like, you're doing the best you can, or whatever it is you're doing. Just think about you're doing the best you can. Don't stress over little things. Don't stress over things that aren't need to be stressed about. Like my previous episode, stop worrying about stupid things. Because the more you worry, the more stress, the more anxiousness you'll feel, anxiety, and all those bad things that we don't want. So I want to just give yourself credit. Just give yourself more credit than you think, because you are doing great. You're doing good. So the small wins and unexpected joys. The little ones are the best part. The first loaf that actually worked, which was my first loaf, not trying to brag, but opened it, showed the crumb online, bam. Friends and family commented on it, and they were like, "Damn, this is good. Like, you did a good job. You did a good job. If you need any help, just text me." I'm like, "Dude, I'm texting you. I'm DMing you because I have no idea what I'm doing." Making cookies from sourdough discard or non-active starter that actually tasted amazing. Besides the first ones, obviously they turn more like muffin tops, but my second and third batch, phenomenal. Clients, friends, family, they enjoy them. See, those tiny victories hit harder than anything else because it's showing that I'm going in the right direction, even if I go forward and sometimes backwards. It's just me getting better at the things trying to get better at. The journey of, aka my sourdough journey. Of yes, there'll be times where things aren't working out, but you gotta find a way to get past that bump and like work on it. And here's the funny part. Even my failures became memories. Yes, failures are memories too. They're part of life. They're part of how we do it. If we're always perfect, I would say we're robots, and we're not robots. The flour cover shirts. The memory loss of putting on an apron. Sticky dough stuck to my hands. Like sourdough, when it was runny, that stuff is like cement. I could not get that off. It was in cracks of my hands that I did not know I had. The oven that sometimes was a little finicky, but it still worked. It still did it. I just had to time it differently. I had to be more on guard of what I'm doing. But all of it now, it makes me laugh. Because when I think about it, that's what this journey is. It's me learning, failing, laughing, and repeating. Learn, laugh. It's learn, fail, laugh, repeat. Learn, fail, laugh, repeat. If you have those in your day-to-day life, you'll be unstoppable. Because we're supposed to learn. Failure is going to come with it. You laugh about it afterwards, and you just repeat. It's just how it goes. So here's the wrap up. Starting new, it is messy. Because life is messy. Cooking is messy, baking is chaotic, and somehow, that's where the magic is. You see, you don't need perfection. What you do need, again, is effort, curiosity, and a willingness to get a little messy. Because sourdough taught me patience. It still is teaching me patience because I am sometimes impatient with Edith. Cooking taught me humility. Basically, some meals I make, they're good. Some meals, again, have those members, have those clients, have those friends that are going to be truly honest of, this is not good or this is good. Because, just humble yourself. Just put the ego down and trust. And TikTok moms taught me, well, at least they showed me, the trend I'd been missing is sourdough and other things, but that's for a later topic. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of my chaos. I said it. I'm proud of my chaos. Proud of my sticky hands with the dough. Get your head out of the gutter, whatever you guys are thinking of. But yeah, it's the sticky dough. Proud of the little ones, the little wins. Whatever they are. And you know what? You should be too. Just be proud of yourself, because take it one day at a time. We all go through crap, and you got to take initiative for yourself first, and then if things are getting bad, then talk to someone. But you have to make that jump forward of life will be messy. But don't let it hold you back. But all right, that is it for today's episode. Yes, thanks again for listening to the JP podcast. Remember, life's messy, life's chaotic, and life for sure is unpredictable. And that's exactly what makes it fun. But again, remember, click down below, like, subscribe, comment, whatever part you found interesting. If you want to know more about my sourdough journey or my sourdough day-to-day, put in the comments and I will be I would love to do them. And yeah, but then I'll catch you guys on the next one.